Welcome to the Digital Journey Podcast. Every successful online business entrepreneur has an incredible story to share about their journey to success. Listen and learn from top digital mavericks and online business insiders as they share their secrets so you can live the lifestyle you deserve. Your pilots for today's journey, Rob Fortney and Nick Nimmin. Welcome aboard, passengers. The digital journey begins now.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Digital Journey Podcast, navigating your online business voyage. I'm Rob Fortney from the Amazon Gorillas and my partner and YouTube extraordinaire, Nick Nimmin. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing fantastic, Rob. Excited to get this show off the road, excited to get it started, excited to rock and roll with this show. This is episode number 1, the foundational episode, and I'm super excited to get started with it.
And what we're going to do is we're going to go through and introduce ourselves, and we're going to introduce the show and talk about the kind of things that we're going to talk about, what we're going to do, and what we're going to help you and how we're going to help you change your life and your online business journey. We're going to give you the knowledge you need to change your current lifestyle by owning an online business. We're going to give you actionable step-by-step tips and strategies to start or purchase an online business. The podcast is going to feature in-depth interviews with successful online entrepreneurs, and we're going to question them and ask them all kinds of questions and get the inside knowledge, the stuff that they did to get where they're at today. The greatest thing about these guys is that they are in the exact shoes, in the exact place that you might be in out there right now. Or we're going to be able to get you information to continue to be successful in your online business during the show as well. We're going to help you gain the knowledge you need to create reliable income so that you can live the lifestyle you deserve.
We want you to look at the Digital Journey Podcast kind of like your compass, your place to come to learn valuable information to help you in your online journey, be it if you have never done anything online before and you're thinking of starting a blog, we're that spot for you. If you are getting into Amazon FBA, we're that spot for you. Pretty much anything it is that you want to do online over the course of this show, we want to make sure that we cover it for you so that we can be your go-to source of digital entrepreneur information.
So some of the people that we've got scheduled already, we've got guys who started Amazon FBA businesses and sold them for $300,000-$400,000. We got guys that sold their businesses for $100,000. We've got guys in drop shipping. We've got guys in Amazon affiliate. We got guys in Google. So we're going to feature all kinds of online businesses, but we're also only going to put online businesses that are legitimate, not get rich quick schemes. This isn't that kind of deal. This is a legitimate business that you could either buy from somebody or sell, which is super important. We're not trying to get here and say there's some magic formula that all of a sudden to be successful. And that's not what this podcast is going to be about. The podcast is going to be about real information, real insight, real tips. And what we're going to get into is the mindset that it's going to take in here as well. It's great information and strategy. We talk about the tools that people are going to use in their business. We're going to talk about the media and blogs and things that they're consuming. We're going to ask them how they got here, how they got started.
And the Digital Journey Podcast is brought to you by Empire Flippers. They help you buy and sell quality websites and online businesses. They basically, in a nutshell, they take the friction out of buying and selling websites. Empire Flippers is a team of about 12 super sharp guys that can help you buy or sell a legitimate online business. They have helped people buy and sell over $20 million worth of online businesses, and they continue to grow. Their buyers and sellers span the globe, and they have fine-tuned their process and team to ensure that you have a safe, secure buying and selling experience. The first website they sold was their own, and now they help others around the world do the same. And Empire Flippers, they remove the friction from buying and selling an online business.
Empire Flippers is a Inc. 500 company and the #1 curated marketplace for buying and selling established, profitable online businesses or selling them. So you can visit their website at empireflippers.com and you can see the current businesses they have for sale, or they have a great tool on there where you can actually have your business evaluated and show the type of money that your business may be worth. And their blog and their information on it has tons of other information for guys getting started, things that you could learn, and information, similar to the kind of stuff we say on the show. So there's a bunch of great information there. So check out empireflippers.com.
With all of that out of the way, since this is the first episode of the show, We are going to give Rob's backstory. We're going to give my backstory so that, you can basically have an idea of what's going on with us as well and what has gotten us through our journey, how we have ended up in Thailand, and things like that. So Rob, let's go ahead and start with you. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us a little bit about how you ended up here in Thailand and what you're into and what you are currently doing.
I am a lifetime long serial entrepreneur. I started my first business at the age of 15. I was going to these teen dance clubs, and I thought, man, why doesn't my town have one of these teen dance clubs? We used to drive about 40 miles to this little teen dance club. Anyway, ultimately what happened was I said, I'm going to do this. So I ended up renting out a Catholic wedding hall where they had weddings on Saturday. And on Friday nights, I would go and rent this place. And I hired DJs and started passing out flyers to all the kids and all the high schools and had security. I mean, it was an amazing deal that I was able to pull that together at that age. But so the next thing I know, I was weekly. 2, 3, 4, 500 kids would show up at these parties every week. And so I started making money. At one point, I realized I was making more money than my dad was. I thought I was smarter than hell, and because I was making as much money as my dad was. And so I did that. And then ultimately, for the last 20 years, I ended up running restaurants and bars. So I threw parties basically for 20 or 25 years, and that's all I did. I was incredibly successful over that time. I owned ultimately about a dozen or 13 different restaurants and bars, most of them in the state of Tennessee. And so I ended up in that business, and then 3 years ago, everything and the wheels came off of the truck. Actually, it's almost 4 years now. You kind of warp as you go through, but the wheels came off the truck. Ultimately, the businesses all ended up closing. I didn't get along with my girlfriend's new boyfriend.
That makes sense. I completely understand why you wouldn't get along with your girlfriend's new boyfriend. I totally understand that.
Well, and she was supposed to still be my girlfriend at the time. But
even worse.
Even worse,
and even more of a reason to not get along.
So here I was in a one-bedroom apartment with no business, no way to make money. I knew that the business was closing over the last year before it did. Cash flow and you see things going on. So I knew it was coming. So I literally would sit in the back of the business every day, 7 days a week, and I would try to figure out how to make money online. And I did every kind of business you could possibly imagine. I tried to do cell phone covers. I tried to eBay flips, drop shipping, affiliates. I tried every T-shirts. Every kind of business you could possibly do. And it was, horrible. I crashed the car. I wrecked it. I couldn't figure out how to make any money. I basically, over the 9 months, learned and never made any money. And then the business closed. And there I was. So now I have no money coming in. I've got this very small, finite amount of money that I figured, living there, I could maybe last 6 months, 10 months if I was very cautious about what I did. And so I literally sat in this one-bedroom apartment, and every day I spent my time online trying to figure out stuff. I remember sleeping and leaving podcasts and webinars on my computer when I was sleeping. I thought, well, maybe it would just kind of get in my brain, absorb it. I probably should have taken books and stuff and put them underneath me, and maybe it had absorbed into me that way as well. But I was trying everything I could to figure it out. And then I was doing, and it wasn't working out. And I was down to my last $2,500. It was over. And I was filling out resumes, and I was about ready to, have to go get a job. And I'd never had a job in my whole life. And I was working on Amazon FBA, and I was doing affiliate stuff. And lo and behold, I did a webinar, and I made $25,000 in one day. So that was
game changer.
The game changer. And so I was able to then go, okay, I've got money. So then I thought, well, now what I got to do is figure out, I knew that the last 9 months before that didn't work out so much because it was costing me so much money to live in America. So here's, I got $25,000. What am I going to do? And so I had been looking, and you're looking on online businesses, you come in contact with where we live, which is Chiang Mai, Thailand. And I thought, that's where I'm going to go. So I think that was maybe May. And I made a plan to jump off the world and come to here in October. And I bought a ticket. Now, at that time, I had no idea, but I just bought a ticket. And there's this magic thing happens when you buy a ticket or you jump off of the thing. I bought the ticket, And somehow everything worked out. I was able to sell everything and come to Chiang Mai, Thailand, and try to figure this thing out and continue to still build my business and still do it. And now I've made it almost 3 years of living here in Thailand. I've got to visit 7 or 8 countries in the last year and a half, 2 years. I have about 9 sources of income now. I'm getting to live the lifestyle that I always wanted, which is no employees, location independent, and I can do it from anywhere I want. And have the freedom that I always wanted in my life instead of being stuck as a brick and mortar business owner or actually having to work for somebody else.
And as opposed to being stuck in traffic on your way to work every morning and stuck in traffic on your way home every day. Well, and going through that whole thing.
Right. You and I both know that like there's days we wake up here and we don't know what day of the week it is. That often happens here.
Absolutely.
Like, what day is it? It's Tuesday. No, it's Friday. You know, it's because every day is kind of the same. We have this freedom and we don't have to worry about the time and where we're at and what bills are due.
Unless we're taking a plane somewhere else.
Right. Yeah. Well, then that's a problem too.
To the beach.
Yeah, it doesn't fly to the beach. Yeah. We won't talk about that. I've got in trouble here today telling people about my problem having to go to the beach for the 4th time in the last 6 weeks. So, Nick, why don't you tell us a little bit about your background?
My background, basically, I did not have that entrepreneurial bug when I was a kid. Basically, I started work like good old fashioned, hey, I'm showing up and clocking in after school or whatever. But I started working the workforce at around 15. At around 18, my brother had started his own business, and I saw what he was doing in the type of lifestyle that he was living because of the risk that he had took basically. And in addition to that, I didn't really notice until I started, getting into it. But my uncle, had also owned his business forever. But because of the success that my uncle had, I just kind of assumed, as a kid, you don't really know. So I just kind of assumed that it was a job or, whatever. But, I didn't know until I was older. Basically, I had the workforce. I got to see, what was happening with my brother, and I wanted in on it. When I saw that, I started looking for different things to do, and I tried a mail order business, and I failed. I tried a clothing thing also, and that failed. And at the time, there wasn't many options in the digital space, right? So one thing that I did do that ended up working really well for me is I went and I started working for a door-to-door sales company. And when I did that, I worked for them for about 6 months maybe. And I started thinking to myself, why am I working for them doing this when I could just basically do the same exact thing by myself? Because they were giving me, basically what it was is it was a $60 card. It was a piece of paper that cost $1 to make, but we sold them for $60. And my cut of that was, they had like a sliding scale, if you sold more, then you got more and things like that. And the cut on that was between like $15 and $35 was, depending on where you were at in the scale. And I started thinking, what am I doing? I'm selling these things. If I could do this myself, I could work, half the time and make 4 times the amount of money, 5 times the amount of money. So me and 3 other people from that same company, I kind of got inside their brains. And I was like, hey, why are we doing this? And I was kind of that virus in the company. And
you're the guy I always wanted to fire at the restaurant.
Right. So I'm that guy that went in there, and I was like, hey, why are we doing this for them? And we all basically made the agreement that we would leave there and we would start our own, which we did. And it went very well. And when things go very well and there's a bunch of people involved, there's also headaches that come with that. There's egos that come with that, especially when you're young. There's egos that come with it. And then all of a sudden, everybody's making money, everything's going good, and everybody has their own plans of where they want to take things, how they want to run things, what they want to do, how much work they want to put in, how much work they shouldn't put in, and that sort of thing. And that caused a lot of internal conflict. So we dissolved everything, and then everybody went their own way. And my choice at that time was I could basically take the knowledge that I'd learned from that and just go out and keep doing it myself, go out and hire, more people again and things like that. Or I could go and find a job. So of course I went the route of, well, I'm just going to keep going. So basically what I did in that situation was I went out and I got more contracts just for myself. And basically I did that for another 10 years. Basically I went door to door for 10 years selling these cards. Basically my expense was $1 per card. And then I would sell those cards for, really, I would sell them for anything. But
whatever
the actual
number you
price,
want to give me.
yeah,
right.
as long as it was over $1, I was in the clear.
You're winning.
Right. But the ticket price on it was $59.95. So basically I took $1 and I got, essentially a $58 return on that dollar. And that allowed me to basically free up tons of time to where, I would go out and work for 4 hours a night, because I would go out and I'd work when people were home, right, after they finished work and things like that. And I'd go out and I'd work for about 4 hours a night and did pretty well for myself. And that also gave me the freedom, because I had so much free time, that gave me the freedom to look into a bunch of other ways to make money. I tried other things like selling advertising for in-room guest directories, where basically I would go to hotels and I would offer them to make the in-room guest directory for free. And in return for that, I would go out and I would actually sell the advertising for the in-room directory, and then, I would catch the profit off at the top of that. So that was cool, but I just wasn't into it. Like the door-to-door thing kind of spoiled me, to be honest with you, because there was so much more work in the, cold calling people, trying to get them to advertise and things like that. And I was so spoiled from the door-to-door thing that I kept, no matter what I tried, I kept falling back on door-to-door. And another thing that I ended up trying was cleaning. A commercial cleaning service, because I had a friend of mine that he did management for a commercial cleaning service. They did like office buildings and stuff like that. And he saw what I was doing, over, years, because we'd known each other for a while. And he was talking about kind of his thing, hey, I just hate, basically building their business for them and running their business for them and all of that. So I said, hey, well, since you don't have any sales experience, you don't really know, that side of things, you don't know how to run your own business or anything like that, I'll basically, if you want to come in on this with me, basically you basically run the show, and then I'll go out, I'll get contracts and deal with the clients and things like that. And we made that agreement, and then I started a cleaning company with him, and we got a bunch of contracts for like big office buildings and stuff like that. And the funny thing is during that time, I would go out in the daytime and I would sell the contracts, or not sell the contracts, but I would basically get leads and go through the sales process for the commercial clients. And in the nighttime, because the money was so easy, I would still go out for, at least 3 hours and knock on doors and sell those cards as well. As all of that progressed, I had a relationship come to the end, because I'm kind of like a workaholic. I just like to, I when I'm working on something, I just like to do it, right? And because of that, I'll just be upfront and say that, it's definitely cost me relationships, because I'm usually more into my work.
Imagine. Wait. What about the nightclub business? I mean, you can imagine. I mean, I got the same thing. Yeah,
sure.
I've had a great bunch of women love me, but like a lot of them left me because of my business and our work ethic. I guess probably more than anything.
Because it's like, hey, I love you, honey, but I got to get this done.
Problem was,
I got goals, right?
Those were always number one, and the girl was always number two. Was probably the biggest problem.
Right. Absolutely. And but anyway, I had a relationship come to an end. And my brother, who had already lived in Thailand, he was doing, freelance graphic design and things like that at the time. And he had some contract work as well. He hopped on the phone with me. He's like, hey, I heard you, just got out of your relationship, whatever. Why don't you just take off of everything and come hang out in Thailand for a month? And I said, okay, yeah, I'll do that. So I talked to my business partner at the time, and he's like, yeah, I can just do that, and then I'll deal with the customers or whatever while you're gone. So I came over to Thailand for the month and just completely fell in love with the place. And just like everybody does, right? Like when people come here, they fall in love with the place. So my thought at the time was, this place is absolutely amazing. I have to figure out what I can do to actually be able to stay here. So my brother, luckily, I was in a good situation here, because my brother said, well, hey, if you want to, stay here, if you want to, come back here, then I can help you, learn how to get clients online. I can help you learn how to work online. I can help you learn how to do stuff online. So I said, okay, that's fantastic. And basically, I went home, sold everything. He helped me virtually through, Skype and whatnot, trying to help me get the ball rolling. And I got, a nice handful of stable clients and made the
clients
leap.
Doing what?
Doing graphic design.
Okay, graphic.
Yeah,
design.
doing graphic design. And then that gave me the ability to basically get rid of everything there and then come here.
I think there's a great point right there that you made, is that when people are trying to get out of the prison or off the hamster wheel, that if you have a skill that you already have and you can figure out how to apply that skill online somewhere, people are looking for information. So if you can apply that, or you could work for another company remotely, that gets you off of the deal, and then you can continue to develop other online business. So that's a great way, I think, for other guys to hear that, you got here and you had graphic design background, and you probably learned that from maybe creating your magazines.
Yeah, I learned that from creating the coupons. I learned that from I did all of the graphic stuff that we needed for the cleaning service all of our flyers, all of our promotional material, all of that stuff. So Photoshop and just graphics in general, it's just always been something that I've just been into and kind of tinkered with, and I've just studied it and things like that. So so I had that background, which I was able to lean on, so to speak, as my skill set to actually get everything started. So when I first came over to Thailand, because all of that was just starting out, for the first 6 months, I actually slept in, because my brother had a 2-bedroom place, and I actually slept on the floor on a mat in one of his in one of the bedrooms that he had, because there wasn't a bed. He used it as a storage area, and I slept on a mat in there. So while I was getting everything going, and then once everything was good enough to where I was comfortable with doing it, then I moved into an apartment, and then everything has kind of grown from there. But over that process, I've went from graphic design to I did a few product launches. I had one that did well, and then I had 2 other ones that just completely failed. I've always maintained doing some type of graphic design work, but I've also gotten into online marketing in general. And one thing that happens when you do freelance work is your clients will start asking you for things. Hey, we're looking for this too. Do you know somebody that does this, right? And if you do know somebody, or if you don't know somebody, you still see the opportunity and you think, well, if I knew how to do that, then maybe they would just pay me extra to do that for them, because they're already working with me. It's a good fit, whatever. So because of that, I started doing video editing and all of that, which eventually led me into YouTube, which is essentially it's my main bread and butter right now, as far as, the things that I do to generate income, because I've built a handful of different outlets around my YouTube channel, to where people, they're either buying something from my store, they're giving to me on Patreon, they are hiring me for consulting, in addition to affiliate income, in addition to, the little bit that you make off of ad revenue as well. So, that pretty much brings me to today. Yeah. So with that out of the way, Rob, what is it that you are doing now to make money? What is it that you're focusing on right now?
All right, so what I'm focusing on right now is in the Amazon sphere. I think that Amazon presents such a huge opportunity for people to create great businesses. So there basically are 5 ways in which you can make money on Amazon. Now, I have some other ways I make money besides that, and I'll talk about that in just a second. But so the first thing was Amazon FBA. So Amazon FBA is fulfilled by Amazon, which means basically that you send your product into Amazon that you import from China. You send it in there. Amazon will then sell it to their customers. They will distribute it, do everything for you. And so right now, I currently import products from China, send them into Amazon. Amazon then sells them to their customer base. I advertise and market it through pay-per-click on their channel. And that's how I make a large portion of the income I make. And then Amazon also does what we call online arbitrage, which basically is buying a product on one website, and sometimes even on their website, where you get the product, and then you buy it, have it shipped back to a fulfillment center in America. Or if you're in America, you would just ship it back to yourself. You would then ship it right back to Amazon. And if you bought it on sale enough, so if the price drops on Amazon so low that you could buy it, sell it, pay the fees back to Amazon, you can make, a spread. And that's what arbitrage is. Or you could buy it at Walmart.com and then send it basically into Amazon. Amazon would sell it, and then you'd ship it from Walmart. Now, I don't do that a lot anymore, but that was one of the ways I would continue. That's a great way you can make money on Amazon. And then we have the Amazon Kindle business there, where you're obviously self-publishing books. And I'm trying right now, and that's just a very new part of the business I'm in, but I'm trying right now to what I'm doing is having books ghostwritten on specific topics. I'm finishing one right now it's about student loans. So we're working on how to pay off your student loans. And so that's just one of the books that we're working on. So that's another area. The Amazon merch is another great area where basically you're imprinting and doing graphic design on T-shirts and then selling them on their platform. And then the affiliate part, which is another part, which is basically you build websites and blogs, and you send traffic there, and then you might do a review of a product, let's say. You're going to review kayaks. You review a kayak, and then people read your review or whatever it might be, or you write a blog post about where you went kayaking or whatever, and then people look at that product, and then there's a link, consequently, to Amazon. Amazon then pays you a commission, 6, 7, 8, 10, up to 25%, depending on which items you sell. And so all of those things together produce income, and those are the great ways in which I totally focus on those. But I also, in the process, started my YouTube channel. Through that process of learning that, people started asking me to help them. So I help people with their Amazon businesses. I have I call it the Gorillas Tribe. And we have about 15,000 people in all the groups and such. And then I teach mostly people how to do Amazon FBA with that. But we meet every week online, and it's kind of a mastermind. And one of the things I think we should talk about is, and I think you too, you start surrounding yourself with good people.
Yeah.
So I have this group that we meet every week, and we talk and we share ideas and how to help each other. I kind of teach lessons. And then I've just started getting into a lot of public speaking. I've been speaking all over Asia lately. I've been getting invited to a lot of stuff, so I've been talking a little bit. My YouTube channel, I do reviews of products there on my YouTube channel, and I get affiliate money from that. I do some client work with some people. I have some companies that I manage their whole entire inventory or their platform on like all the different markets all over the country. So Amazon predominantly is where I've kind of got my bread and butter, and it's how I've survived. But I think the other month I did it, and I have like 7 or 8 different sources of income. Some of them are $22 a month.
That's nice. That's good, and that's something that's really important for people to consider as well. Is because I'm the same way. For my YouTube channel, there's a handful of different income sources that are built in from that. And it's really important for people to consider that when you are, stepping into the digital online business, that, the more income sources that you can create, the better off you're going to be. And not just because it's more money coming in, but some months, one thing is going to rock and something else is not going to do as good. And then the next month, there's going to be a complete reversal to where, one thing is going to do that did bad last month is going to be awesome. And the thing that did great last month is going to, not do as well. And it's just always a roller coaster between all the different things that you do online, because you're dealing with algorithms, you're dealing with human behavior, you're dealing with world events, and things like that.
Yeah.
And all of that stuff, it has an impact of on your business online. So having those different outlets is great.
What do you think what did you learn from your biggest failure so far, like in this journey of getting the freedom that you wanted in your life? So what's the biggest problem, like failure you had, and what did you learn from that failure?
I would say my biggest failure would be 2 failed product launches. That'd probably be my biggest failure, because I put a lot of time and a lot of energy into those particular product launches. And because of the first one that I did, I thought that by default, oh, hey, this first one, people love this.
This is the greatest idea ever.
Yeah, this first one went great. People love this. We made a bunch of money, so I'm just going to try to repeat it. And I did that twice, and it didn't work out. And what that taught me was that your expectations are not always reality, and that just because you did something once doesn't necessarily mean that you can do it again. But more importantly, that there's systems involved with things, and that you can't just rely on creating something and putting it out there, that you actually have to, create a system to actually market what it is that you're doing. You have to generate your success. You can't just make stuff and throw it out there and hope that it's going to work. And that's the main lesson that I learned from that is, I put in a bunch of time, a bunch of money, and I put it out there just hoping that it would work, because I wasn't hope. I expected it to work because the first one worked, but people just didn't resonate with that, with both of those like they did the first one. And because of that taught me that, okay, well, if you're going to do a store as an example, or any type of online product, you have to work a system into it so that you can, be constantly feeding traffic to it and things like that, instead of just going for a big hit or, something along those lines.
Well, you're going to fail. I don't care what business you're going to do.
Yeah.
And the difference between learning the process is the only way you can do it is by practicing and failing.
Yes.
Because the only way you can learn.
Yeah.
And, I know that when I was screwing up my first year trying to do this, I was wrecking the car. And I can't tell you that I panic a lot in that, but because I call it the burn time, which is when you start this process, you're going to have so much money, and you're not going to have income, and you're going to have to figure out, or you're going to have to keep your other job and use that part-time stuff in the bottom to start this business. But all businesses start out with $100 a month. And we're going to talk about this a lot in the podcast, which is about how do you make your first $100? How do you get started? Or how do you jump out of your corporation job that you're working right now, or your brick and mortar business, and sell them and then start an online business? How do you do that? Do you do that along the process? So that's what we're going to be doing, is interviewing guys who are doing that, who are making those decisions right now about how they do it. We're going to ask them, like we're just going to ask, we just asked you, like, what was your biggest failure? What tools and tricks? By the way, so let's talk about that as one of the segments that we're going to do in the show, which is what tools and videos and blogs are you currently reading right now, and what are you doing to help yourself even kind of stay on top of stuff in your industry and things like that?
For me, because almost everything that I do is basically YouTube is kind of like that's the top of my funnel, so to speak, right? So everything that I'm consuming right now is mainly YouTube based. So of course, any of the training material that YouTube puts out, because of my channel growth right now, I just got invited to an additional training course that's like an invite-only training course. So basically anything YouTube puts out, I consume that. I watch other creators in my niche, because in my niche, basically on my channel, I help YouTubers learn how to grow their channels, make videos, and all types of other YouTube-related stuff. And because of that, the other people in my niche, they also do similar things. So because of that, I'm watching them all the time to see what they're doing, to see, oh, hey, they just tried this new, thing, and they were able to send a lot of traffic to it, and it worked out well for them. So, maybe I should do that, So I'm definitely watching the people in my niche. I'm consuming anything YouTube puts out. I'm always on Tube Filter and on Social Blade looking, for any of the news that comes out. I'm on YouTube's blogs and, all that stuff to see, anything that comes out from them as well. And for me, YouTube is kind of the well, or the flow that everything comes through. So for me, I focus everything on that. And then everything else just kind of, because I put everything in place to make it profitable, then that feeds the traffic to everything else.
Right. So one of the questions I always ask is, I think you told me this one time that somebody just sold a YouTube channel for like millions of dollars, right?
Yeah. Disney bought, this was, I think 3 years ago, they bought Maker Studios, which it wasn't just one channel. They had a series of channels and an MCN that went with it. But they paid them $1 billion for their YouTube assets. So
the idea is when you're starting a business, to find something that you can sell later on, or you can buy one. If you can buy one, that means you can sell one, and either way it works. You can get to, you can either start from ground zero and build one, or if you've created enough wealth and income and you're just trying to get out of your current position and doing something else, it's actually going out there and finding a business that you can buy. And that's a great thing to be able to actually kind of, if you don't want to start from ground zero, maybe you've done and built a business and you've now, you've sold everything, or maybe you sold your business, or maybe the idea is to get out there and sell your business. So that's a great place to start, is to actually buy someone who did the creation part of it.
Yeah. And with that said, one of the assets that I do have that is connected to my YouTube channel is a web store, to where, video creators can go there and download graphics and video graphics and things like that. And I also put some training in there and things like that. So, down the road, I would actually have to optimize how I'm actually, running the site in order for it to be something that I could actually sell. But, since it's a fairly new site, that's another thing, another asset that I'm building that maybe I could sell down the road if I kind of optimize how it runs and make it to where it kind of runs on its own without me having to actually add stuff to it and things like that. So yeah, absolutely. Rob, back to you. How long did it take you to become successful and to create enough income to become location independent?
Well, the first 9 months I made $7.
Rocking.
But I can tell you this. So there's this magical moment that happens that I believe I see it in online entrepreneurs, and you'll maybe relate to it. But there's this magic moment when you make your first money. Like when you put something out and then money actually comes through an online service, PayPal, or I don't care how you do it, and you get the money back. There's this incredible, it's like winning the lottery. It is like, this actually works.
Yeah, this works. Now, how can I repeat it?
Right. Are you ready? I sold a Wonder Woman cell phone case cover.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I made like $7 and I thought I had just won the lottery. My first product on Amazon was I'm always trying to be creative. Sometimes I'm too creative with stuff and it gets me in trouble. But there was this, the grill lights were big, and I thought I was going to sell grill lights. But I had this idea that, well, the problem with the grill light is that, it had to be attached to the deal. And what about walking from the house out to the grill and stuff? So I got these hats, like ball caps that had a light on them, and you'd press the light on the rim and it would light up. And I thought, all right, you get your meat, you're walking out of the house, you got a grill light there, and you get to the grill and you're looking at the grill and you're grilling, and it's a grill light hat, right? So I bought these grill light hats. I put them up on Amazon. I had no idea. I actually left the listing up there and then went on chase some other rabbit. Well, all of a sudden, in one day, all of a sudden, I started selling them. Like, oh my gosh, I sold one of these. And then the listing, I had literally copied the listing from like a grill light, and it was actually describing a grill light and not my hat. It was like, yes, you attach it to the underside. I mean, it was so bad. But that proved to me, the proof of concept that, like, even if you were horrible sometimes back, and this is years ago, 3 years ago, no matter how horrible, you could probably figure this thing out. It takes a little more work, a little more skill now. But, that's how I kind of started making money and was able to attach myself to, okay, this actually can work. So that took me 9 months. Then I sold those things. And then I started making a little bit of money in Amazon, but it wasn't enough to really support me. But I talked about that earlier when I had this day where the quick story about that is I was learning about how to do Amazon. And one of the things I think we'll talk about with the people on the show and why it's so important is that, we're going to hopefully provide you people who can be mentors to you, people who can inspire you, people who can share you real world knowledge. And what happened was I knew that I'd all my life when I was in business, I had to find people who I thought were inspired and who mentors. So I always had mentors from very young age. I would get these older guys who I thought they were new, and I would just interview them. And even in high school, when I was starting to do these things and about running a bar or about even starting something, I would go find a guy who I thought knew what he was doing, and I would interview him. Well, I would tell him from my school paper. I mean, I would make up these bizarre stories just like I just talk to guys. And that's one of the things, guys, you should call people, like send emails out, reach to people that you want to help you. You will be shocked at who will reply to you.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you'll just be shocked. So I ultimately ended up in the Amazon business. I started hosting these online webinars where I would get these guys who were big sellers and knew what they were doing, and I would interview them. So I'd interview them on my webinar, and it was really just a way for me to get actually my questions answered. I look back, it was an incredible idea. Well, ultimately, people started coming to this webinar because I'd invite other people and it kind of spread. And the next thing I know, there's like 600-800 people coming and viewing the webinar.
Nice.
Well, one day I asked my buddy, I said, well, how do these people get to the webinar? Oh, they put in their email address. And I went ding, 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 ding. And that's that process where you realize the failures that you have, you're learning so much you have no idea that will apply later on.
Yeah.
So like I had heard that, emails were huge. So one of the pieces of software that I was using to find products was a product called AmaSuite. And AmaSuite was an affiliate product. And so I had used it to find affiliate products. Well, I was working on FBA, and I realized that the parameters they were using to help find products with this other, was a course that I was in, was the same information that AmaSuite was putting out about affiliate, but it applied to these guys' theory and strategy. And like they were doing it by hand, and it was taking, to find 10 or 12 products or analyze 12 products, it'd take you, a whole day, 8-10 hours. So what I started doing is I learned how to basically hack this AmaSuite software. Well, they were coming out with a second version, and the second version of it, they had made some improvements or whatever. And I had learned about this emails that I had talked about, and I got a notification from or something, and they said, well, if you will sell this software or whatever, or I read that if you sell the software that they would give you, and this is how I really learned about affiliate and software, or, a reviewing software, that they would give you all of the money for the first 7 days they were selling the software. Well, 5 days passed, and I was telling my buddy, hey, what can we do with this? And I said, we got an email list. I'll show people how I use this software. I mean, I'm not going to sell it. I don't really, but I'm going to show people how I use the software. I'm just basically going to go through. And so I sent out an email one day. The next day, 500 people show up in the first 24 hours. Nice. I go through this. I literally just go through how I did it. This is how I look for the product. Here's that video. I did a version of that. They almost had 100,000 views between them. Those videos that first day, that's the day I made the $25,000. We sold that many of them at $200. It doesn't even take that many, and we sold $25,000. But those videos, that original one made over 6 figures that one moment. And
Nice.
and so the key to that, I mean, the real key to that is to keep doing stuff. Keep throwing it against the wall, because I was at $2,500. The game was over. I was going to have to get a job. Now, I can tell you this. If I'd had to get a job, and if you were at a job out there right now, every minute I could figure out how I could spend trying to figure out a new business, I'd be doing. And I thought, if I go do that, okay, well, guess what? If you give me any downtime at work, I'll be at lunch, I'll be out where I'll figure this out, because I'm not staying on that job trail. But that one thing and that one moment helped me get off of the hamster wheel and get out of the business and know that I could actually make a living. And that's how I ended up here, getting here. And then those businesses just kept getting bigger and the audience kept growing. And that's now I've been doing those webinars and shows now for 2 years. We've done over 300 hours of video.
Nice.
I think we're up to like 8 million minutes watch time. Now, I know you probably got that a month or something, but I do training. So my number of views isn't huge, but my watch time on the number of people that watch it's huge,
Sure.
which, makes an impact. But, my YouTube channel continues to make money. Those videos, I've done tons of reviews and stuff. So that's one of my other sources of income. I guess let's talk about the show a little bit more. What kind of guests do you think we're gonna invite here? And we're still looking for guests too to share with people. But what kind of guests are you thinking you're gonna invite to share with people, Nick?
Yeah, definitely. Anybody that's had any type of success doing anything online, because there's value in all aspects of online business. Because like you're just saying, if you're trying things and they're not working, then you just haven't learned enough yet. Right. So there might be something that somebody in the FBA business might say that might spark a thought for somebody that's listening to the show that is into the Kindle business, or that is into affiliate marketing or drop shipping, or
Google
YouTube
Ads
or
Facebook
anything,
or whatever it might be.
Right. So so I think just a wide span of anybody that's had any type of success, and really all levels of success online as well, because there's somebody that has a $250,000 a year income from their online business is going to look at things differently than somebody that has a $20,000 a year income from their business. But they're both doing it. They're both, generating that income, but they look at things differently. So I think having, the different perspectives is definitely a value to people that listen.
So I've got some people lined up. I've got a business attorney that's going to come in and talk about online business. We've got some accounting guys that are going to come in. So if you're in the online business or you're getting started, you can set up your accounting right. How do you keep track of taxes? We're going to talk to some insurance people. So those are more of those finite, tuned in kind of things. I think we're also going to be talking to people who have purchased business. Walk us through your purchase of your business. What kind of due diligence did you do?
Sure.
We're going to talk to people about the process. How do you value your business? And because Empire Flippers is a sponsor of the show, we're going to invite those guys in and tell us the ways or the types of businesses you guys buy and sell. We're going to interview those guys. We're going to really get into their tune and what they do. We're going to be talking to people who have started and just brand new. We're going to talk to people, like you said, who might have $500,000 and they just sold their business and they want to invest in other businesses. So we're going to get a huge wide variety of online entrepreneurs that are either doing it, starting it. So anybody listening is going to be able to find information each time. Even a guy who just started, is going to be able to share something, even if you're making 6 figures a year or you're making 7 figures a year in your business, that guy might have something to share with you. Everybody's got knowledge and stuff we can share. So in addition to the foundational stuff like accounting and insurance and marketing, we're going to make sure we have guys who are marketing, teaching you how to market your business. Once you've bought a business, how do you continue to still market that business to keep the growth going? So you're not just buying a business and it stays flat or you lose money. And my biggest thing, and we'll talk about this a lot, is marketing. How important marketing is all of the time. You can do everything else right, but if you do marketing wrong, the game's over.
Absolutely. If nobody knows that you have what you have, and nobody knows that you're providing the service you're providing, or nobody knows, what it is that you're doing, then yeah, you can't generate business that way.
So I'm going to share one of my cool strategies later on, but I call it the best burger in the world problem. And it's kind of a neat thing, but I'll share that with you. It has to do with marketing your business. So I think we're going to create a show that inspires people. It gives you knowledge, education. I just know that we're going to entertain you as well, and give you the knowledge you need to actually make this jump or to stay in it? How do I stay in my business? How do I, and so we're just going to share as much information as we can. We'll take suggestions from you guys, and we'll just kind of develop something. We'll create a little relationship with everybody. You'll get to know us. We'll get to know you. And hopefully we continue to provide information that will be super valuable.
And in addition to that, you'll also get a peek into the actual lifestyle that some of the digital entrepreneurs live, because in addition to to the bottom line of actually making money with it, there's also the lifestyle design part. There's the privileges that
what's the reward?
Right. There's all the privileges and rewards that come with being a digital entrepreneur.
That's why we're always going to be asking these guys, like, what was your failure? What did you do to overcome your failure? How did you get up off the mat? Because you're going to fail. Like, the tenacity in this thing is deal. But what you got to learn right now is that it's all practice. And you're going to accidentally, if you'll just keep showing up, you're ultimately going to win if you just keep showing up to the game. And that's what we're really going to do. So I guess that's a good review. I hope that gives everybody a knowledge of who we are a little bit, and we're going to keep sharing, who we are, and you can't help but get to know us. And I'm excited to do this with you, Nick. I have some big hopes for this, and I think we're going to get to do this for a long time.
Yeah, me too. I think it's going to be a good time, and I'm really looking forward to see how it goes.
Well, thanks for coming today, and please keep tuning in. We're going to keep trying to answer questions and give you the great information. You've been listening to the Digital Journey podcast. We're going to navigate you through the online business voyage. Hey, if you want to reach Nick, how can they reach you if they want to personally talk to you?
The best place to start, just so you can get a little bit of insight into specifically what it is that I'm doing, is on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Nick Nimmin, and that is NickNimmin. That's the best way to reach me. Every other way to reach me is connected in some way to my YouTube channel.
Right. And I'd say the best way to get a hold of me, if you have questions or you need any help or whatever it might be, you can reach me on Facebook at Rob Fortney Jr. Send me a message there, or you can visit my YouTube channel at Amazon Gorillas and send me a message there. And then our main thing is we want to talk about, make sure you go visit where we're going to be at online. So you want to visit on our YouTube channel if you're listening to the podcast. If you want to visit us on our YouTube channel for the podcast, which is at Empire Flippers, you put that in the search box on YouTube, you'll be able to see the Empire Flippers YouTube channel, and that's where we'll be we do the podcast, but we're also recording it for YouTube. So we are live. Hi, everybody on YouTube. Here we are if you're watching us here. And we'll be recording that so you can go see the episodes on there, and you can see Nick and I's beautiful faces that are made for radio and not YouTube, but we'll be there as well for that. And where else can they get us on iTunes?
Yeah, iTunes. I'm guessing the show will be going up on iTunes, on Stitcher, and SoundCloud probably, and anywhere else that you can consume podcasts to make it easy for people to be able to access the show.
Right. So empireflippers.com, if you're interested in maybe buying a business or selling your business or visiting their blog. Greg does their blog, and Mike Swig, both of them do the blog over there, and they just tons of creative information and really good information you can use to help you with your digital journey. So they have all kinds of, startups to everything that we kind of talked about in the thing. Those are the kind of topics they have, and they're writing blog articles and YouTube and all kinds of things there as well. And we're just hopefully we're going to add to their big collection of great information. So empireflippers.com. I'm Rob Fortney. Thanks for taking the digital journey with us.
You're listening to the Digital Journey podcast. The Digital Journey is brought to you by Empire Flippers, the largest marketplace for selling and purchasing online businesses. Empireflippers.com.